Hi, this is Lance with tips for realestatephotography.com. And today we are going to expand on a post that I have on the blog that describes how to create virtual tour slideshows with WordPress on the cheap. If you haven't seen that tutorial, head on over to tips4realestatephotography.com, find the search box and simply type in virtual tour. After you hit enter, it should be the first one that comes up for creating virtual tours on the cheap with WordPress. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start inside of our dashboard within WordPress. And the first thing that we're going to do is we are actually going to create a new page as a container page for our MLS version of our virtual tour. Last time we created a very blank virtual tour, and we're going to use that for our MLS compliant version, which is not going to have any agent branding on it. So let's go ahead and click on Pages, Add New, and for our title, let's just enter MLS. Everything else can remain the same as default, and we're going to click Publish. That's all we're going to have to do for this particular page. We're not going to come back to it. Now that it's done, let's go ahead and move on and go to Pages and All Pages. And we are going to edit the virtual tour that we created in the blog post on tips4realestatephotography.com. So go ahead and click Edit. And we are going to change the parent page for this particular virtual tour to MLS. What that's going to do, after we go ahead and hit update, we're going to see that the location of our virtual tour changes to MLS / the address of the property. This is going to be how we distinguish between the MLS version of our virtual tour and the branded version of our virtual tour. So if we were to go back to our actual tour where we initially had it, we add MLS in the front and hit enter. This is where our virtual tour that we created previously now resides, in that MLS directory. We're going to leave that as is. We're going to use that as the MLS compliant version, and instead we're going to create a new branded version with the agent branding information. So let's go back over to WordPress and go to Revolution Slider. We're going to take our previous slider that we made, which was our virtual tour, and we are going to click on Duplicate. Here's our new slider. We're going to go ahead and click Settings, and we're going to change our title and our alias back to what they were before, with one minor difference. So go ahead and put the address in for the title. And for the alias, we're gonna put 123 Main Street, Dallas, Texas 75023, just like last time. But this needs to be unique because we're gonna be using this particular alias to embed in our new branded virtual tour page. So we're just gonna add branded onto the end of it. That way we can tell them apart. Let's scroll down, and where we have full screen align, we want to turn that on. The reason being is because we're going to be utilizing what's called the captions grid, and we want that grid to be the full size of our screen, so when we go ahead and make additional layers that align within that grid, they align where we want them. Let's go ahead and click on Save Settings, and then go ahead and click on Edit Slides. We'll see our first slide here. This is what we're going to use to put our agent branding on. So let's go ahead and click on Edit Slide. The first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to come down to Delay, and we're going to enter a new value. We're going to put 7,000. This means that this particular slide, the front shot of the home, will stay visible for 7 seconds before moving on to the second shot. We'll see over here that our default is 4 seconds or 4,000 milliseconds, and we simply had it at 4 because that's a quicker transition between slides. But because we're showing agent branding information on this particular slide, we're going to let it run for a little bit longer. go ahead and scroll down past where we can see our slide and we see our layer buttons. This is going to allow us to add as many layers on top of our slide as we want. So go ahead and click Add Layer. And then in the Style drop-down box, go ahead and scroll down to Medium Background Dark Blue. You can see it on the right here, an example of what it looks like. And I'm simply choosing this because I like the way it looks. You can choose a different one, whatever you see fit. You could even change the color if you wanted to something that matches the particular brokerage or the agent company. Go ahead and click on Edit Style and scroll down. Right now we're in the simple editor. We want to scroll down to the advanced editor. So go ahead and click on Advanced and just click after where it says Border Style None. Just click after it, hit Enter, and type in Width 100%. Go ahead and save your changes. It's going to come up and it's going to ask you, do you want to overwrite that style that we had selected, or do you want to save it as something new? We're going to save it as something new simply because we don't want to overwrite the default that came with the software, with Revolution Slider. So we're going to click Save As, and you can name this anything you want. You could name it _edited, so you know that you edited this particular class, or what you could do is you could change this to, say, property address. So then you know that every time you go to add the property address onto the slide like we're about to do, you just select that particular style. But we're just going to do _edited for the purpose of this tutorial. Click Save As New. We'll see that the style that we have selected shows our edited version. If we scroll up, we can actually see that our particular style, where it has caption text 1, we can see it's the dark blue, and we can see that it's the full width of the slide. We have a couple of alignment issues that we need to fix. So let's go ahead and scroll down. Let's put in our property address for the text. And then under where it says Align and Position, let's go ahead and select the top left box for the position field. And for the X and Y values, go ahead and put 0 for both of them. Scroll down to Layer Animation, expand that box, and change this to something that you like. I'm just going to do Short from Top. You'll be able to see an example in the screen provided. It's just going to bring our address and drop it down from the top of the screen. If we scroll up, we can see that after we made our alignment adjustments, our address appears correctly on the top of our slide. That's what we want. I'm going to scroll down and click Update Slide. Then I'm going to scroll back up and I'm going to add a second layer. I want to put the agent's info on this particular slide, and I'm going to put it underneath the address that we just created. So I'm going to click on Layer General Parameters again. This time for style, instead of using the dark blue, I'm going to scroll down to the medium background colors and I'm going to choose Asbestos. I'm going to do the same thing as before by editing the style. Make sure I'm in the advanced editor. I'm going to add 100% width and save my changes. Again, I'm going to save as, and I'm going to name it something new. You could put agent information here if you wanted. After we save it, we're going to go back into Edit Style, and we're going to go on the Simple Editor, and we're going to take the transparency and we're going to knock this down to 60%. All this is going to do is it's going to take our gray background and make it a little bit transparent. It's just going to look nice that way. Go ahead and click on the Save Changes button. And this time, since we already have our edited version selected, we can go ahead and override it by clicking Save. And yes, I really do want to override it. For our text, we're gonna put our agent information. So our realtor is an agent. Normally we'd put their first and last name. This is gonna be their first and last name for this example. They're gonna be with Keller Williams. And their telephone number. And then for the align and position, we're gonna take our X value and make it 0, our Y value, make it 40. The positioning for the boxes is gonna remain the same. The top left box is gonna be selected. And we're gonna adjust the layer animation again. And this time, instead of coming from the top, I'm gonna come from the bottom. Again, you could do either one you want. You could select any of them that you want that you think looks nice. Scroll down and hit Update Slide. Now we should see when we scroll up, we can see that we have the address of the property and we have the realtor information displaying right below it. Now, in order to take this slider that we just made, we duplicated the previous one we had, but now we have a branded version, so we need to put that on its own page. So it has its own URL from our tour site. Let's scroll down and go to slider settings. And we're gonna copy out the slider shortcode. So go ahead and double click and copy it out. We're gonna need that when we go back through and paste it in the new page that we are about to create. Now go to Pages, Add New. For title, we're gonna do the same. We're gonna name it after the property. For the content, we're gonna right click and paste what we just copied, which was our shortcode for our branded version of our slideshow. We're gonna leave the parent page as no parent because this is a branded version, so we don't want to put it under the MLS heading. We're going to change our template to virtual tour and we're going to hit publish. So now if we go look at our original MLS version of the virtual tour and we refresh it, it should be just the same as what we had before. No agent branding visible at all. If we duplicate this page and we take out the MLS part of the address, we should get our new tour with the branding information. You can see the address at the top and the agent information also. And you'll also notice that the timing for this particular first slide moves slower than what it does in our MLS version. Again, because we set this at 7 seconds long. Now let's go one step further and add video to our slideshow or our virtual tour. Let's go back into our dashboard, click on Revolution Slider. Let's go ahead and click on our branded version of our virtual tour. We're going to click on Edit Slides and we're going to duplicate our first slide. Because we don't want to place our video on top of our front shot, we want to create a new slide for our video. Now we want, since we duplicated our slides, what we have is we have both slides showing both the address and the agent information. We only want the first slide to show that. So we're going to click on Edit Slide for our second slide. We're going to scroll down and we're going to delete all layers to remove our address and agent information. After we deleted them all, we're going to scroll down and click on Update Slide. Now let's go to the slide list to get back to our original slide, and let's edit the first slide where we want to put our video. We're going to change our background image, so instead of having the front shot, we're going to go ahead and select the blurred image that we uploaded in the previous tutorial. You have a couple of ways that you can add video to this particular slide. The easiest way is to click Add Layer, Video. It's going to ask you for the YouTube ID or URL, or you can add a video from Vimeo. I like to actually host all of my videos on Welcome Mat, which is the leading real estate video website and provider. So I'm not actually going to use this Add Layer Video button. Instead, I'm just going to click the regular Add Layer button. I'm going to delete all of the text and HTML, and then I'm going to log into my Welcome Mat account, and I'm going to find my video. This is what it would look like if I just went to it on Welcome Mat. I'm going to click the Share button. I'm going to find the Embed link, and I'm going to change the size to 640 by 360. I'm going to copy the embed code, and I'm going to go back to my Revolution slider or our virtual tour that we have created, and we're going to right click and paste our embed code for the video. For our align in position, we are going to choose the center dot, so the video is centered within the slide. Let's click Update Slide. And now if we go back to, this is the MLS version of our virtual tour, which is not where we just added our video. We added it to the branded version. So let's go to the branded version and hit refresh. And we will now see the very first slide still contains the property address and the realtor information, but it also shows our video. We can click play. The viewer can click full screen if they would like. We can hit pause, and our virtual tour continues as expected, going to the second slide, and the viewer is able to look at all of our photos, or they can go back to the first slide to watch the video. If you have a video that is not branded, you can go ahead and add a new slide onto your MLS version, just like we just did to add the video, and click on the Add Layer or the Add Layer Video button, depending on the method that you're using to add the video, and you can add that video to the MLS version as well. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and I hope you are able to build virtual tours on the cheap, not only with just pictures, but now with agent branding and with video. Check out tips for realestatephotography.com for further real estate photography business articles.